What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Attack on Cowboys, and we are finally back. I had to take a brief hiatus, y'all, but we are back, and we're going to be listening to Brian Schottenheimer talking shot about this upcoming week, about the injured players, and about how the Cowboys can get back on track. Let's go ahead and get right into it, and be sure to leave a like on the video. Shut your up. All right, man. Let me go ahead and get back in the groove here. Let's get back in the groove.
Weekend, and you got like 4 games left. What is your message to your group in terms of finishing out these last 4 games?
Yeah, control what we control. Win. Stay in the moment, and can't control what anybody else does, but you can control the way you process and prep, and you can't win unless you win on Wednesday, in the meetings and then leading to practice, and that's the only way I know how to do it.
You peek tonight at the game and see what Philly's doing and try to figure out where you stand?
No, I'll look at the scoreboard when it's over, and I'm sure somebody's going to say, hey, it's whatever, but no, I got plenty to do with that Vikings defense.
One last thing. Health updates
Good
on
answer,
Diggs,
Scotty.
Clowney, and Guyton. Do you anticipate them possibly practicing this week?
Yeah, we'll see. I think Diggs should be good to go with practice, and then we'll find out a little bit more over the next 2 days, 48 hours with Guyton and Clowney.
Okay.
I'm Brian Todd with ESPN.
Ian just said Diggs good to go at practice. He didn't say Diggs should be good to go this week. He just said practice, so let's see.
CD, how's he doing? I know you've not gotten on the field yet, but how's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing good. Talked to him over the weekend. He's doing good. He's progressing nicely, and again, hopefully things all work out like we expect.
And then Flournoy's improvement, I don't know, or his increased production, what would you put that on for him here in his second year? Where has he improved most?
Probably the route running. Here's a guy that's always had the size and the speed, but Todd, he's worked really
Flournoy,
hard
man,
on the fundamentals of top of the route transition. He's always been very strong at the catch point, but also learning the system. But the biggest thing for me is he's a young player.
Baby Dez without the psych problems.
That just if you watch him pre-practice, post-practice, working on how to create separation at the top of the route, speed turns, tight turns, bursting turns, all those different things. I think that's where you're seeing him create more and more separation, and it's through hard work. I mean, really is. He's a professional. He's very mature for his age, a young player, and just really proud of him.
Yeah, I'm sure with the Athletic, you mentioned after the game you thought Dak took too many shots. How's he doing?
Too many!
How do you guys kind of fix that?
Yeah,
QB1 took too many. I don't want to hear nothing else about no Tyler Guyton. I don't want to hear nothing else about, Nate Thomas should take over for the game. Shut y'all asses up, man. TG, come back, please.
he's doing good. It's something that we've done actually really well for the most part all year, John. And this team that's coming in here is going to create a bunch of problems for us in that regard because they're really good at that. But again, pass protection involves everybody. It involves receivers getting open, and the line obviously has to do their job, and the backs have to do their job, and Dak's got to get the ball out when he can. But talked to him over the weekend as well, and everybody's in a good spot. They're motivated to get back on the field and play. We know we let one slip away, and that's okay. But we'll get back on the horse, and here we go.
And then with I think it's 10-year games, you guys have started out trailing. Is there anything you've been able to see from looking back on that of what can possibly change to maybe you guys get off some faster starts?
Yeah, again, we've looked at some different things. There's a few things with the openers that we've talked about, and we're big into deferring. Why? Well, we like that to get the ball in the second half. That extra possession in the second half, I think, has been good to us at times. But it really comes back to the fact just the execution, has not been at the level that we need it to be, and we can score in a hurry, and we've played well, but there's not one thing that we're like, man, if we do this, we'll start faster.
Nick Harris, Full Start Telegram, along the same lines of Dak taking too many shots. The tackles allowed double-digit pressures in that game against the Lions. What was your evaluation of those two guys and how they can improve moving forward?
Yeah, again, I thought Nate struggled. I mean, I think he'll be the first one to tell you that. Young
Yes, he
player,
did.
Second start. Again, very talented. I think where Nate needs to grow is understand he plays a very difficult position to play, and you're going to get beat at times, and you got to bounce back. But for him, it was more of the aggressive sets. What do I mean by that? I talked about it in our conference call, I think, the other day. But like his initial set was really good, and then as there was space, he would begin to kind of turn his shoulders, which softens the edge and makes it easier for the defensive end to affect the quarterback. Whereas Nate's a 330-pound man, with incredible athleticism and size, and
Great
he needs to
coaching
stay square
points.
longer. And so that's something that we'll keep working with him on. And
I don't know, man. I trust Shotty as a player developer. Like, we haven't had a chance to actually see it yet in an extended period of time because you really can't see player development unless it's over the course of a couple of seasons. I think he's going to end up proving to be an outstanding player developer because he understands the game. He understands how to talk the game to people who understand the game. And I think more importantly, he understands how to teach the game to people who understand the game. So So that's what's up.
I think Terrence has played really well all year long, and again, we got into a situation in the noise where these guys were generating a lot
Really well as a stretch, but go ahead, keep going, Shotty.
of pressure and coming off the edges, and again, it's a tough position to be in. And but I thought Terrence has played really well for most of the season, and
Yeah,
like I
okay.
said,
Most.
I really do feel like it's one of the best things we've done all year is protect Dak, and we didn't do it very well the other night, and we need to do it better this week against the Vikings.
I'm sure you got some extra time to watch the Vikings yesterday. Justin Jefferson in their last 2 games just has 4 receptions for 15 yards. When you see that or hear that, do you anticipate more balls going his way on Sunday, or how do you
Absolutely.
kind of go with the statistics? of what
Absolutely, especially after that quote that Jay Jettas put out. He said, I'd rather win and not catch a ball than lose and not catch a ball.
Yeah, I don't get too caught up in the statistics. I think it's probably a really good idea for them to throw him the ball.
Yeah.
Tommy Arch, Cowboys.com. You were saying after the game last week that you kind of, now that you had some time after 4 games and 17 days, take some time to self-scout. What did you look at in self-scout? Was there anything that kind of jumped off at you while you were looking back at some of the things from these last 4 games?
Yeah, I would say, again, the 2 main things was the ball, our inability to get the ball, take it away, and then how loose we've carried it. I think that's something that we have to clean up. I think that's the biggest reason why, we sit here right now is we're -8 in turnovers and the giveaway takeaway ratio, and there's
the
definitely
-8
some
is
fundamental
really bad,
things that we can clean up and need to tighten up. I think that's one. And then there were some things in the red zone.
And then what's frustrating is it's a silly -8. Like, most of them are fumbles and stuff like that. So it's like,
On both sides of the ball that we need to probably do a little bit more of. And when we do that, I think that should hopefully.
And then we're not generating many turnovers either. Like, we've generated like 3, 4 turnovers, it feels like. I don't feel like we've generated a lot of turnovers at all this year. Man, get rid of Eberflus.
hopefully get us the results that we want.
And the kickoff coverage unit has given up the 4th most yards this year on kickoff returns. What have your conversations with Nick been like about trying to get that number down and give your defense some better field position?
Yeah, we need to do that. Number one, the kickoff coverage leverage has not been very good. We've lost contain, and the way it's all set up now is, again, if my left arm's free, I got to keep my left arm free, and guys are trying to make plays. And again, the way you cover kicks well is to have everybody do their jobs, and keep their contain,
Guys are
play
doing
with the right
too
arm
much.
free, and we haven't done that. And again, we'll be looking at maybe some personnel adjustments as well.
Nick Sorensen, we are looking at you, sir, because we haven't seen our special teams just as a whole look this bad in a long time. Yes, some plays have been made. Yes, we got the kick, the field goal block, and there's been a couple of plays made on special teams, but I think that special teams has probably been a net negative for the Cowboys this year, and that is something that we have not had to say in a while. Probably since pre-John Bones Fossil.
Skyler, with the AP, you said Friday you would talk to George about the social media thing. Have you had a chance to do that?
I did. Had a good conversation with George over the weekend, along with a number of players.
Do you think it's fair to say that he lives his football life under a bit of a microscope, considering the circumstances of the trade?
I think George just loves football. Every time I'm around him, I know he just loves football. He loves playing the football, and it's a place like most of these guys where they get to just be their true selves. And I know he's great in practice and he's great in the games.
We support you, YN Shiesty.
Counsel for him on that front? I mean, maybe you don't see it that way, but do you ever talk to him about, people are going to look at you a little bit differently than maybe they might others, or not?
I talk to George about a lot of things. Again, I'll keep that between George and I, but again, I just I love watching the guy play football.
Respect the question. I respect Shotty's non-answer.
Well, I'll just kind of leave it at that, Skyler. I think the guy has more fun playing football than most people, and I think when you do that, I think that's usually a recipe when you're as talented as he is. That's why you can impact games the way that he does.
So Shotty did have a conversation with him about his effort. I will say this: we all have to remember George Pickens was coming off of a calf/ankle issue. He was on the injury report with a calf and knee, or a calf and ankle. It was one of the two. A limited Monday the before going into the Detroit Lions game. So that's one thing people got to remember when you start talking about how a guy looks running and his effort and trying to question people's effort, man. You got to take all things into context. Richard Sherman, you damn clickbaiting. Ugh.
Joe.
Joe Boyd, Dallas Morning News. You talked about Ryan Flournoy's improvement. You guys waived him at the beginning of the year. Was there a little bit of anxiety when you put him through waivers, and how did you respond to that, and what have you seen from him?
Yes, there was a lot of anxiety because we certainly, we drafted him. We wanted him back. We were hoping that he would come back. He wanted to be back, which was good. And I think I remember him just, taking it, as motivating, I really appreciate the young man's maturity. I appreciate the way his faith is very strong. I know going through everything with Marshawn, he's been one of the more outspoken, guys about his faith and how he draws from that. But I was not surprised when he burst onto the scene against the Jets with his big game, and then I was not surprised by the way he performed last week in Detroit.
You talked before about your fourth down decisions being more of a gut kind of feel. How do you self-scout kind of what a gut feeling is like, or how do you kind of reevaluate how you decide fourth down decisions?
I'm always going to go with my gut. I'm going to listen, to feeder and the things we're talking about and have a sense of the game, but I'm always going to go with my gut. And the reason why you do that is because you're the guy that's got to look at yourself in the mirror, whether it works or it doesn't. You're going to look at yourself in the mirror. People are going to like it. People are going to criticize if it doesn't work. They're going to think you're a genius if it does work. And but at the end of the day, when I'm brushing my teeth, going to bed at night, or waking up in the morning, I need to make sure that I'm doing my part to give us the best chance to win.
Garrett.
Hey.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, you played the quarterback position, you called the plays. What are your thoughts on J.J. McCarthy's season? He's been kind of up and down, but probably his best game yesterday.
Yeah, played great. A little bit.
That sound like an old geriatric sneeze. I'm pretty sure that came from prehistoric ass Clarence Rack Hill's nose. No, I'm just playing. Come on.
Saw of the game, just flipping through the different games and things like that. I thought he played great. Looked very
T-Rex
comfortable.
knows
Very talented young man, and again, I won't speak too much into it, but again, I've heard amazing things about him as a leader and what he brings to that locker room. And I coached Kevin O'Connell in New York. He was one of our backup quarterbacks. Love Kevin. I think he's an incredible coach, and he is an expert in developing quarterbacks. I'll say that, talking about Kevin, and I think that the future looks very bright for JJ.
Christy Scales, Cowboys Radio, 105.3 The Fan. You were talking about pass protection earlier. Brian Flores, the Vikings DC, is he one of the tops in bringing extra rushers, and what kind of stress and challenges?
Flo's gonna hit you with a lot of disguised blitzes and stuff, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Christy, he brings a lot of different unscouted looks, a lot of cover zeros, a lot of different looks that you have to be ready for. And again, it's one of those situations where you have to trust your rules. And we have answers and things that should account for some of those free runners and things like that. But the chess match is real, as people say, and I think Brian's one of the best in the business.
I think the biggest criticism of George from that game was the effort from the outside looking in. How much did you guys get to meeting the minds about the effort?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. Again, he just, in his words, he goes, "Hey, Shotty, I didn't play my best game," and
that, George.
Unfortunately, none of us, played our best game.
Way to be accountable, George. Even though I just really feel like people are hyper analyzing that thing with George Pickens, man. Like I said already, with the calf/knee, and then you got to think about the fact that Ron Flournoy was able to have the type of game that he had because so much attention was on GP. The rest of the game, after CD went out, Detroit started bracketing him. 2-man game on him. A lot of attention was on GP. That opens up other guys. So still, in a way, Flo still did his job, bro.
That's real. But again, I don't worry about George and his love for football and playing this game. And again, for 5 or 6 weeks, he was the talk of the sporting world.
Exactly.
Look at George Pickens.
Exactly. And then one bad game, and now we have to bombard all these guys with, is GP all right? Like, let's stop. Let's stop allowing our opinions to change of players in this team week to week. Let's stop. Look, I'll just let y'all know how I do this. I look at seasons. I break seasons down into 3 phases. You have the beginning of your season where you're just starting to kind of learn about your team. You have the middle of your season, and the beginning of the season is from week 1 to week 6. You have the middle of your season, week 7 to about week 13. That is pretty much that period where you're establishing who you are for that season, right? So the Cowboys, they were essentially a 500 team. It was very, very streaky, very up and down. That's who they were at the middle point of the season. Then you have that last 6 games or 6 weeks of the season, and that's why I think that teams are trying to be or reach their top potential, right? They're trying to be who they want to be at that last part of the season, right? So you got to start breaking this thing down into sections and save your opinions and judgments for the sections. However you need to break it down. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like the most logical way to look at football and look at the entirety of a season to where you're trying to really analyze a team is you need to give them an ample sample size. And in the NFL season, there's really 3 phases of that season. So I think that's fair to do.
Again, we didn't coach or play well enough to win that game in Detroit. They beat us. It is what it is. We've had a couple days to, reset, refocus, and now we're on to Minnesota.
One more. Is Rocco, how have you seen him grow from when you first got him in week 1 to where we are right now?
Again, I'll talk about the leadership and using his voice and all that. I think just the passion for the way he plays the game is real. But like I said the other day, I think the biggest thing for me, I've always known he's had a great first step, the ability to affect quarterbacks. But the way he plays the run is unique for a rookie. that came out of BC
Oh,
as a known
rock.
pass rusher, but the physicality that he plays with in the run game and really on all D&Ds is very unique in my opinion, and that's why I think he's going to be a star in this league.
Your coaches talk a lot when a quarterback throws a pick or has a bad game, whatever. You learn more about the guy after that. Can the same be said about corners? And what do you expect from a guy like Revel who's going through it for the first time?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop, bro. Savon Revel was matched up against Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams in an explosive Detroit offense, bro, with a very, very shaky backfield. Savon had rookie moments. He had bad technique moments. He had moments where he kind of got a little bit too handsy. He had rookie moments, very teachable moments. Nothing that I saw from Savon Revel in that Detroit Lions game was like, is he ever going to be able to get this? Absolutely not. Technique fixes.
Again, I think you can, and I think that's all part of the process is having conversations with those guys. And Von is a very confident guy, but he's playing a very tough position to play. And again, he's like I put him in the same category with me. I didn't have my best night; he didn't have his best night, and but we woke up the next day and we were both motivated to get better, and he's going to do that. And again, when you've got a rookie corner that's playing at the level that he's played with the confidence, I don't worry about him. I mean, it's a guy that all he wants to do is get up and play press man-to-man, and you don't lack confidence.
Love it.
Him
and Diggs would be a match made in heaven, it sounds like. Maybe we need to put him and Diggs on the outside and let DB play back on the inside, because DB he chopped liver on the outside, bro. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
Those guys are like,
I'm with you when you were right, but boy.
Let me give myself a little bit more cushion. He's more like, hey, let me get closer to this guy because I want to put hands on him. But I don't worry about him, and he's one of those guys. Again, I think it's just every week, man, he's getting better and he's learning, he's growing, and I think that's great for our football team.
Yeah. What do you remember about your time with Kevin O'Connell in New York, and did you see then that he could be head coach today?
I did. I remember it a lot. I remember him coming out of San Diego State. I remember him going to New England. I remember bringing him over as a free agent. But I really remember him. We were in a division against the Patriots, and we would go back and forth. But Kevin had been in New England with Tom.
What do you
and
remember
knew a
about
lot
Kevin?
of Tom's answers
Nick?
and blitzes, and he would get with Rex and the defensive staff.
Did anybody not ask, like, do y'all plan on playing Diggs this week since y'all had struggled in the secondary last week? That would have been a valid question to ask. And even me, I don't know how hard I am on Diggs, but if your plan to cover top receiving duos is to stick backup safeties on them, put Diggs' disgruntled ass out there on that field. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I will never want our team to do something that's to the detriment of it. And if your plan, even if you're trying to establish whatever you're trying to establish, great. I'm empowering you guys to do that. More power to you. But if your plan was to put backup safeties on Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams in man coverage, absolutely not.
Every time we'd play the Patriots, and basically become a defensive coach that week. And so he'd give a great look on scout team, but he'd help them come up with blitzes and how to attack things. And if you've ever been around the guy, he's very personable, very football intelligent, and just he's a leader of men. And so I was not surprised when he became a head coach. I was not surprised to see his success because every time I've been around the guy, I've just been impressed by him as a man, husband, a father, all those things. And again, he really helped us, beat a really good team a number of times.
We don't care about this answer. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna cut that answer. I don't give a damn about Kevin O'Connell. Anyways, man, that was Shotty sounding off on Ryan Flournoy's emergence, Trevon Diggs, some more injury stuff, and George Pickens' effort issues in quotes. Let me know what y'all think about all this stuff down in the comments below, man. And as always, bro, I'm riding with our coach. I'm riding with our guys. I'm riding with GP. I'm riding with all these boys till the wheels fall off. Even when the wheels fall off, I'll be there to help them put them joints back on. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. If you want to show your appreciation, if you want me to stop taking these little breaks, subscribe. All right, but either way, until next time, out.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boy? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still them boys.